Welcome to One Insight. My name is Litvin. I grew up in London and I now live in LA. And this is a podcast for extraordinary top performers. You see, I've coached some of the most successful and talented people on the planet. I see what most people cannot see, and I dare to say what most people wouldn't dare to say. And what I know about success is that on the other side of it, it can actually be lonely. You can feel like more of an imposter the more successful you become. And when you're the most interesting person in the room, you're actually in the wrong room. I coach around insight. Life looks one way, something happens, the world looks different, and your entire world changes. It can happen in an instant. And this podcast is called One Insight because a single insight can change everything. Fear is often a mask for desire. When somebody shows up and says to me, hey, I've got this fear, Rich, help me get rid of the fear, I'm less interested in getting rid of the fear than finding out what do they really want behind it and then helping them get that. I'm okay with feeling fear. Fear for me is a sign that you're dreaming big enough that there's something scary out there. There's no fear. This isn't something that's big enough, in my opinion. And I work today in this session with Niki. So Niki works for the Red Cross, International Red Cross, does amazing work there. She's set up a coaching program for the World Economic Forum. She's coached brilliant future generation leaders. She created something online for an NGO and a private sector company that raised millions of dollars. So I knew a secret that when she tried to fight for her limitations and have me buy into her story, I wasn't gonna bite. The fun thing about this episode is that when she has this powerful insight and I say, we're there, we get it, we pause, and I say to the people who are doing the editing, okay guys, you can cut this now, we're complete, I'm gonna just chat with Niki. But then what she says is so interesting. I say to the guys, hey, let the recording keep rolling, capture this too. I think you're gonna enjoy this one. Hello, Niki.
Hi, Rich.
Hey, let's play. So you said yes to this. I know you must know a little bit about me and what I do, otherwise you wouldn't even be here. Mm-hmm. So one of my favorite questions to begin a coaching session is often something around what would make this an extraordinary conversation?
I think it would be that I let go of the fear that I'm feeling about taking the next step and getting some energy back into my coaching business.
So let me play with the first one and then we'll look at the second one.
Sure.
Let go of fear around the next step.
Yeah.
I have a belief that fear is a mask for desire.
Uh-huh.
So I try and teach this to my son who's 7, who yesterday was afraid that he had a meeting he had to go to at school for a small group of the kids. He was really afraid and he came back home and it took a lot of energy to get him ready for it because he just didn't want to go. And it's me, my wife, the teacher, all having private words with him. Came back and it was his best bit of the day.
Okay.
And I keep pointing out to him how often the things that we're afraid of when we go into them afterwards, we call it fear, but it's a lot of energy in our body. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you're feeling a lot of energy right now. Around what? Like what are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of I live alone, so I need to pay the rent, which means I need to work, which means that I get distracted and end up doing lots of different projects that distract me because I'm going to pay the rent with them. My deep desire is to work in a different way and build my life in a different way and have long-term clients, not just clients that I see maybe even just for one session or for 10 sessions. I want to work with someone on a sort of more long-term basis, nice. 6 months or a year. And that to me is where the juice is. And I can't seem to shift out of oh my God, I've got to earn money to pay rent and to, buy food, versus my passion, which is, working with people in transition in a specific space of retirement.
Correct.
So that's what I would like to do. I don't even know how to get there.
Well, let's play. Let's find out. So first of all, I want to introduce you to a distinction I like called sex versus cash.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes from a cartoonist named Hugh MacLeod. And Hugh MacLeod basically says, it's all well and great to have our great big sexy projects, but sometimes you just need the cash to put food on the table, pay the rent, pay the kids' school fees, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I like that. It's nice to be able to know, oh, I'm doing this because I need the cash, or I'm doing this because it's sexy work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's so tempting to want to go into the sexy work because it's the thing that makes us feel the most alive. Throughout history, great artists often had a benefactor. The reason Michelangelo could paint the Sistine Chapel, the reason great artists were able to do their work was often that it was the church or royal families. Those were where the money was in those days. Sometimes it was a wealthy person who would pay an artist. These days, we have to be our own benefactor.
Mm.
And for me, knowing that distinction around my cash projects and my sexy work allows me to say, okay, well, right now I really need money. So actually it's 4.5 days a week of cash projects and just half a day a week for sexy work, or 3 days a month of sexy work. If business goes up and down, there are moments, it's all cyclical, and where I put a lot more attention on bringing in cash. There are moments I put a lot more attention on the sexy work, the sexy project. So how does that land as I draw that distinction for you?
I think it's a great distinction. I still don't know how to get to the sexy work, though.
Right. So
there's still that thing. I get it, but it's not. Yeah.
Well, what that tells me then is not the right time. So what you need, where is it? I have. This is an ideas journal.
Okay.
And an ideas journal is where I write down all the sexy ideas I have that one day might come into reality. But I capture them so I know they're safe. And then I can get on with the things I need to do in that moment. So it sounds like right now your attention needs to be on cash.
Yeah, but I think it's also an excuse. I think it's also I don't even know how to even imagine getting clients that I need. So I'm going to just do busy work. And do you see what I like?
So I don't believe you. I don't believe you. You do know how to create clients, because you told me the reason you know who I even am is if you read the book, The Prosperous Coach.
Yes.
And The Prosperous Coach gives you a very simple, not easy, but it's simple framework for creating clients. That's why that book has sold 55,000 copies by word of mouth alone. You just pass it on because it works and people feel that. Connect, invite, create, propose. There are 4 steps to this framework. If you want to create clients, you start at number 1 and you work your way through. Connect. Who would I love to speak to today? Not who can I connect with because they could be a client. It's just who can I connect with? And then you find out what they're up to. You put your attention on them. And at some point, when they ask you, well, what are you up to? You can say, oh, you know what? Right now, I've got a space for 1 coaching client. Connect. At some point, you invite those people into a conversation. Create. You serve them. You give them an experience of your coaching. The heart of the Prosperous Coach approach is the concept, give people an experience of coaching. Don't try and sell the idea of coaching.
Sure.
So, and at some point, then you make proposals. This is how much it would cost. This is how we work together. So you've read that book. You know what to do. If you're not yet doing that, it tells me, now this is an edgy thing to say, but if you're here, then I know you're ready for what I call high flame coaching. It doesn't mean I berate you, but it means I'm going to turn up the dial. If you don't have clients, what that tells me is that you don't yet want clients.
Okay.
Now, part of you might be thinking, well, no, hang on, I'm here because I do want them. There's also a part of you that doesn't want them. That's why it doesn't happen. Because what I know about you is you've done extraordinary things. You're involved in the Red Cross. You set up a coaching program for the World Economic Forum. You helped to launch an online program for a non-government organization, a private sector company. You raise millions of dollars to raise awareness for the environment. You are a high performer. You do extraordinary things that most people could never do when there's enough of a desire. So if this isn't happening, it tells me either the desire isn't enough, or there's something that's in the way that's more powerful than the desire to make this happen. No judgment, it's just the reality.
I think it's the fear. It's the fear that's in the way, and the fear of that juggling act between reality and what I really want to do. And I don't know how to give myself that space to go, okay, well, I'll have 6 months to build that or to create that.
Where do you generate money from right now? Where does your money come from?
From consulting and working as a coach at 50%.
And consulting and coaching, do you bring in enough money to allow you to have a good lifestyle?
Yes.
Great.
For now.
So this is
all new. This is all very new. I'd spent 25 years working for one employer, having a paycheck at the end of the month. And this has been a big jump.
Well, first of all, congratulations. It's amazing to hear that you're creating this. Really, I want to acknowledge you. Most coaches are in struggle mode the entire time. They don't ever become really professional coaches, and you have become one. And that's great. It's really important to acknowledge that.
Thank you.
The second thing is just to slow down and get present to the moment. We tend to live in this fear about the money will run out or what will happen. Business goes up and down. So you definitely want to find ways to balance out the ups and downs. A savings account where you start to grow short-term savings, then long-term savings, then eventually what I call financial freedom, the money that you'll never touch. But start off with a few dollars. Every time a new client comes in, a few dollars here and a few dollars there, you'll be surprised how quickly those accounts will build up. But do that because they will smooth out the ups and downs of business. Because the challenge of having only a practice with only a few clients is that you can have a month when it's great, you sign up 3 new clients, and then 2 months go by and you don't sign a single client. And it feels like it's up and down, and that generates this scarcity mode inside of us.
Yeah.
The second thing is, you can see me, so I'm smiling. It's time to put your fees up. The thing I love to do is to challenge coaches to double their fees. Because if you double your fees, you only need half as many clients. And if you're full right now at capacity with your clients, it's time. And you don't have to do this with all your clients. You could say, I have space for one client where it's a different kind of engagement to everything else. This would look like we'd start off with a 2-day retreat. You'd come to my home, we'd meet at a hotel. And then we do our work together. And again, we'd meet for another 2-day retreat in the middle and something at the end, and create a package that's, it's obvious. Well, I know why I'd be paying more for this one than for this one, and start to talk about that. I think back, 12, 15 years. And I remember at the time when I began coaching, I'd struggled with confidence for so much of my life. But I figured I could do something around confidence. I studied confidence. I was doing something called instant confidence sessions. Get on a call, 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, you would leave with this renewed sense of power and confidence more than you'd had in years. Got really, really good at it. And then one of my coaches said, Rich, do you want to be known as the person who does instant confidence sessions? I said, no, I don't want to be known. I want to be known as the guy you spend a year with me and your life entirely transforms.
Yeah.
And so that became the place I came from. That was my new intention. This is what I'm about.
Okay.
What's the insight you just had?
That I'm so busy that I actually haven't really created my specific intention.
Yeah.
Like I have a general idea and I've already built my life in there, but I don't have a really specific intention. Yeah.
Intention is powerful.
Yeah.
Intention shifts all sorts of obstacles out of the way.
Yeah.
I don't say this very often because it was only an intention I set inside my head. I'm not sure how I've really shared it publicly much, but when I came to the United States in 2006, I'd spent 2 years learning about coaching as part of a qualification to be a head teacher. And then I'd lost a job and I shifted into, I want to be a professional coach. When I came to the United States, I set these 3 intentions secretly inside myself. I didn't tell a soul. Sometimes it's good to put intentions out there. Sometimes it's good to keep them inside. You get to decide in the moment. I said, I want to learn from the best coaches on the planet. I want to be trained by the best coaches on the planet. I want to be one of the best coaches on the planet. Set as this internal intention.
Yeah.
I remember it was a few years later, I was in England with a couple of my friends who were world-renowned coaches, and we were on the London Eye, just having a little fun trip. And I said to them as we got into one of the booths, I said, you know what, guys, I set this intention all these years ago. I want to be trained by the best coaches on the planet, and the best coaches on the planet with my peers and my friends. And here I am hanging out with you. And they looked at me just kind of like laughing at me, like, why? What? It was so they were so kind of, why is that even a thing for you? Like, we're just your friends. Why is that? And I realized, wow, I'd made this happen.
Yeah.
The power of intention. I can't tell you the time frame in which that will happen when you set an intention. But if you set an intention at that place that you come from, day after day after day, things shift.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm a big believer in that. I still feel that's intellectual, and that there's still something that's blocking. I can feel it in my body. That I can set the intention, but I would find reasons not to.
Well, I'm going to mess with your thinking in this moment, because
okay.
That if you don't have that, Niki, that sense in your body, like, I shouldn't be doing this, I'm afraid, there's a block, I would say you're not dreaming big enough.
Okay.
I mean, the projects that I know you've done with the NGOs you work with the Red Cross, am I right that in the beginning of those projects, either you said that they were going to be impossible or someone else said they were impossible?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got news for you. You've got a track record at doing impossible things. I love impossible goals. For me, the power of an impossible goal is that my distinction around an impossible goal is it's literally impossible. There is no way on earth this could be done. In which case, you know it's an impossible goal when you can't turn it into a 17-step plan. If you get a goal and you can turn it into a plan, it's an audacious goal, it's a bold goal, it's a scary goal. It's not an impossible goal. So I was teaching this concept, taught it for many years, teaching it to the guys in my men's group many years back, 6, 7 years back. And I drew out from each of them an impossible goal. And at the moment they were like, oh, that feels exciting. And it's like, this is what I'll do next. No, that's not impossible then, because you know what you're going to do with your next step. And we turn it into an impossible goal. And then it was my turn. And they said, one of the guys said, well, Rich, I know you only ever work with 5 one-on-one clients a year. What if you had $5 million clients? 5 clients who each pay you $1 million. And I started to say, no, you don't understand. In the world of coaching, maybe Tony Robbins has that, but nobody else. And I realized I'm trying to convince them that the thing he just said to me is impossible, why I shouldn't be doing it. So I sighed and I realized, okay, that's my impossible goal.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. It's not a place to get to. I can't tell you when I'll have a $1 million client or if I'll ever have a $1 million client, but I've been showing up as that person ever since. And 2 days ago, I was sitting down with a friend of mine, and the two of us were looking at the kind of people that we're working with next, where those kind of numbers, they spend that kind of money all the time. Like, it would be a no-brainer for them to spend that kind of money.
Right.
And so it's closer than it's ever been.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not attached. It may never happen, but I've been coming from that place every day. It's a place to come from, not a place to get to.
Sure. I get that. Can I ask you a question? Do you ever get lonely?
Yeah.
With the work?
Yeah, I laugh because the book that I'm writing right now has gone through 3 different titles. It started off with the success paradox, this idea of what got you here won't get you there. And then the title shifted to the loneliness of leadership. And I would say that title out. People say, what are you up to? I'm writing a book. The title is Loneliness of Leadership. And it was polarizing because I got two responses. People would either go like you just did, like, oh, yeah, it's really lonely up here. Or they'd go, well, that's interesting. What's that about? So I'm like, okay, well, it's not for you. You're not. And so, and the title that it's now likely to be published with is just a riff on that. When you're the most interesting person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Which relates to this idea of loneliness. People think, well, you know, hopefully finally one day when I'm that successful, that fascinating, life will be amazing. And there's challenges that come with that. So absolutely I get lonely. In fact, the very selfish reason I created 4PC, this is the community of leaders and high-level coaches that I run, is that I was frustrated that I didn't have an amazing community that I could find anywhere that was right for me. I decided, well, I'll create one. Well, here's another impossible goal, right? I said, I'm going to create this community of people who are all more amazing than me. Well, how am I going to do that? I didn't know. I didn't have to know. I just had to keep speaking it into the world. And now that group has the most extraordinary leaders and coaches in it.
Another something else has happened. I think I need a different community. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I'm silent in this moment. If we were coaching just the two of us and this wasn't being recorded for the podcast, I'd leave that silence hanging even longer. That's what I call an insight moment. There's this stillness in this moment because there's a realization of the truth of what you just said. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do anything today or tomorrow to make that happen. But sit with that. Begin to look at that. It's edgy. It's sometimes the friends, the peers, the colleagues that we've got are not the ones for where we're going next. That doesn't mean we dislike them. Doesn't mean they're bad people. Sometimes it just means that it's time for a new community. And you can do two things. One, you can look for that. And two, that you can create that.
Yeah.
When I moved to LA, I was coaching a lot of very powerful women at the time. My wife is a very powerful woman. I knew I needed a lot of powerful men in my life. I wanted to be in a men's group. I did not want to lead that group. That would be my day job. So I looked for a group of peers who would challenge me and meet me, but they'd be my peers, not people I was leading. And I co-created that and co-led it for 7, 8, 10 years, I think, almost. The most extraordinary group of people. We're still friends to this day. There's a man who works at NASA, a man who trains billionaires, a man who runs a wolf sanctuary in that group.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're there. Thank you for playing, Niki.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks. All right, whoever's editing this later, that was our pause point. We'll stop there. Yeah, let yourself feel all that, Niki. I mean, it's a lot of energy, right?
Yeah. Sorry, lot of stuff. Yeah.
So what's fun is if you're editing, don't pause it there. Keep it going and let whoever's listening feel the reality of this. Niki is feeling all this energy in her body right now because it's an intense moment when you have this insight.
Yeah.
And give yourself permission to slow it down. What you need to do right now is to start looking for, here, I'll give you a tool. It's called an energy audit.
Okay.
Energy audit is very simple. Take a piece of paper, draw a line down the center. On the left-hand side, write energizers. And on the right-hand side, write drainers.
Okay.
Now, you can do this for all sorts of things in your life. You can do this for habits, projects, activities. But for you right now, it's people. What people or what kind of people And also environments, people and environments. What environments make you feel alive? What communities make you feel alive? What people make you feel alive, inspire you, excite you? What people, environments, communities drain you of energy?
Okay. That makes sense.
And if you like, you can, if you're not sure, is this an energizer or a drainer? I would say, I love Tim Ferriss's rule, give things a number in making a decision from 0 to 10. You're not allowed to use the number 7. 7 is the number. It's like, yeah, it's okay. It's pretty good. But no 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s for you.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Rich. Really appreciate this.
Thanks, Niki.
Thank you.
For most of human history, it wasn't called coaching. It was called leadership. And it's what I love to do, to coach people, to lead people, and to mess with people's thinking. If you'd like more of this, or if you'd like to learn more about our community of extraordinary top performers, go to richlitvin.com/oneinsight.